Welcome everyone to the channel. Today we are doing something very special. It was one of our favorite videos that we made last year, and this year we're doing it again, and it is our movie predictions for the entire year.
So we are going to go through the list of movies that are coming up on IMDb and kind of cherry pick the ones we're maybe interested in seeing and predict if we think they're going to be good or not. And then we're going to come back at the end of the year and comment on the ones we ended up seeing.
So, we actually did this for our movie predictions last year. At the beginning of the year, we did the same thing, and we actually just put up our video reacting to those, so we'll put it up here and you guys can go check that out. And so, we're ready to give you some hot takes on this year's lineup.
So we're actually going to start with February because we're currently filming this at the end of January. So we're going to start with February 1st release date. So the first movie that we are actually interested in on the release schedule is February 8th, the Lego Movie 2, the second part. We have both seen the first one. I was really surprisingly enjoyed it. I did not expect to, and it was delightful. So I'm actually really excited for the second one.
I think it'll be pretty good. I hope that it avoids normal sequels and is able to be like a good continuation of the story without, I guess, relying too much on the success of the first one.
Although I will say, I feel like when I saw the first one was peak appreciation of Chris Pratt, and now, like, I don't love Chris Pratt as much, so we'll see if he carries the charm for me like he did in the first one.
The next film we're interested in on our lineup is Happy Death Day to You, and this one's going to be good, I think.
I'm so excited for this. This first film we did not end up seeing in theaters, which I strongly regret. I'm glad they had enough support to make a second one because we really liked this movie. It was a surprise hit.
I think they're going to have to retcon some details about how their Groundhog Day-ing works so the characters don't die, because in this universe, everything that you die as carries over to your next day. So if you get hit by a car, the next day, your body has residual damage from your last repeat. So I feel like they can't keep that up because eventually the characters will just fall over dead.
We'll see. It's kind of like a timeline-esque response, I feel like, if you've ever seen that movie.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, though. The first one was good.
So the next one is one that we actually had on our predictions list from 2018, but it ended up being pushed to 2019, and that is Alita Battle Angel. You were not overly hyped for this the first time we did a prediction for it.
No, and I'll admit, over time, I've become more interested. I feel like she still looks a little weird to me, the animation, but the story itself looks interesting enough. I think the cast looks pretty good, so I'm interested to go see it and see how it turns out. I think it will probably turn out as a solid okay.
Our next one is really our first big blockbuster hit that we're excited for. I guess Lego Movie's kind of a big blockbuster, but another animated film, and that is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. This is the third movie in this trilogy. I believe this is the last one planned. And I'm very excited for it because I love the first two films with all my heart.
This franchise can do no wrong, and I think the third one's going to be very good. I hope it's really good, because I felt like one was really solid, surprisingly great, and then two was even better, and I expect great things.
Coming out the same weekend as How to Train Your Dragon 3 is the Rhythm section. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I am intrigued. It is based off of a book. I believe it's a thriller-esque. Yeah, it's marketed as a thriller, but it's got Blake Lively, Jude Law, Sterling K. Brown, and it is about a woman who is seeking revenge against those who orchestrated a plane crash that killed her family. And I think that Blake Lively is really starting to get her movie legs, if that's a term. I feel like she's really starting to find her niche of what she likes to do, and I'm intrigued by this plot and cast.
I know nothing about this film. I'll go see it. We'll see how it
I have not read the book. I don't think I'm going to have time to read the book before it comes out, but we'll see.
The next one on our list is Greta. Now, this is a thriller with Chloe Grace Moretz. The trailer just came out, I think, a few weeks ago, and I don't know, I think you're more interested in this one than me.
It looks intriguing. I honestly don't know if we're going to end up seeing it because there's a movie that we're going to talk about next that I'm more interested in seeing that weekend, but I'm intrigued. I honestly don't know if it'll be very good, though, because Chloe Grace Moretz is not my favorite actress.
I feel like she was better in her earlier films, but as she gets older, I don't feel like she's made a good transition into adult actor from child actor.
Although I have heard the Miseducation of Cameron Post is very good, so.
I've heard that too. She looks a little flat in this trailer.
The premise intrigues me.
The premise intrigues me, but I feel like the more I watched the trailer, the goofier it seemed.
Maybe.
So I think this one's gonna be bad.
Still interested. But the next one is one I'm more interested in, and that is Chaos Walking, which is based on the book The Knife of Never Letting Go. This is a YA dystopian series, so it's basically based off of a world where there was a disease that essentially wiped out women and all other living creatures. Or no, it only wiped out women, but now living creatures can hear each other's thoughts in a stream of images, words, and sounds called the noise. But this is about a boy who meets a girl who shouldn't exist and can't hear her thoughts.
I think the cast looks crazy. Between Tom Holland, Mads Mikkelsen, Daisy Ridley.
Cynthia Erivo.
Oh,
I did not know who was going to be in this, and she's our new fave, so...
I really hope this one's good. We know next to nothing about this. We haven't gotten a trailer, so I hope this one's good.
I haven't read the book yet either, but it is on my list.
And rolling into the March 8th weekend, we have Captain Marvel. Now, people have been weirdly, have hung a boomerang on this film, so, everyone's so hyped, and then it seems like after they've released a couple trailers, everyone's like, this movie's gonna be bad, but I guess I'll still go see because it's Marvel. And I'm like,
I don't get it.
What the hell's your problem? This movie's gonna be good. It's gonna be... Marvel has proven they know their casting choices right. They're gonna be movies. At worst, it's like a decent Marvel movie, and at best, it's a great movie. It's female-led, which we need more of. I hope it does really well for that fact alone, because there's so much untapped female potential in these superhero universes.
I feel like the hate around this kind of has this weird indoctrinated sexism, possibly, because this is our first female-led film by Marvel. I don't understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, it's weird that Brie Larson was such a fan favorite to play Captain Marvel, and then now everyone's just pooping all over her. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think the trailer looks good. I don't understand what people who say it looks bad. But we're excited. Next up is our next film by director Jordan Peele, and that is Us. This is going to be another thriller. It looks like it's going to have a very similar tone as Get Out, which I'm jazzed for, because Get Out was another surprise one that we did not see in theaters, and then ended up watching later, and we're like, why didn't we see this in theaters? So, very intrigued, very hyped. Killer cast. So
this one is going to be better than Get Out.
I agree.
Is my prediction. The trailer looks wild. I think it's going to be batshit crazy. I think Lupita has the best crazy face. So when
I'm so ready for it.
So in the trailer, she's like, this film might be the horror straw that breaks the camel's back into the Oscars, which would be beautiful. I know a lot of people were upset about Hereditary, but I think this is going to be our winner. They can't deny Jordan Peele. Get Out made some waves, last year. So I think this one's going to be really good.
Was Get Out last year? I think Get Out was 2017.
Well, last Oscar cycle.
Okay.
So we just got the Oscar noms, blah, 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 last cycle.
Next up is another book to movie adaptation, and that is Where'd You Go, Bernadette? This is another book on my list to read. There is a theme. It looks good. The trailer's interesting. It is about a woman who disappears, and her 15-year-old looks to track her down. Cast includes Cate Blanchett and Judy Greer and Kristen Wiig, so it looks intriguing. I'm intrigued by the trailer. And the book is well-loved.
I know nothing about this movie, so...
Have you seen the trailer?
Have I?
Have you not?
I don't think I've seen the trailer, so I know nothing about this movie, and we'll see if it's good. Next up, we have Dumbo. Now, both of us did this. Are we really going to see Dumbo? Answer is probably not, but we figured we'd mention it just in case. It is a big release, but I think these live-action remixes have been pretty lame. I think the trend will continue. I'm all about Colin Farrell, but every other part of this looks bad. I don't believe in Tim Burton, so...
Bold statement.
I know, some people love Tim Burton. I
like a lot of his movies. So let's talk about our busiest month ever, which is April. We have a lot of things going on this month. We have a bunch of book to movie adaptations that we are doing full series around. We have TV shows coming out that month, but we're not talking about those in this video. We're talking about movies. So to kick off April, we're going to talk about Shazam, which looks delightful, and I'm excited.
I was so tempted just to be like, Shazam! At the beginning of that. But so I did it for you. Anyways, this one looks good. Zachary Levi. I think it is the Levi Renaissance, hopefully.
Hopefully. He
always struggled to get long gigs after Chuck, but I think this one looks like a lot of fun. and like a continued step in the right direction for the DC Universe. I think it's going to be a hit. Next up, we have Pet Sematary. Now, we are both pretty excited for this film. We are currently reading through the books. We have another series that will be coming.
There's only one book.
Oh, book. Book, singular. But we will have a series coming out later leading up to the film where we talk about the book. We'll have a reading vlog, a book review, and then we'll go see the old movie, review that. We'll see the new movie, review that. It'll be a lot of fun, so we're pretty excited for it. And so far, I think it's going to be good.
Right now, we're 60 pages away from the end of the book. I'm intrigued.
I think Stephen King's stories have been getting really good adaptations lately compared to how they used to all get really, kind of okay to garbage adaptations. So I hope this continues the trend and is really good.
So to continue our book, in this case comic, to movie adaptation, which we are centering the whole series around, next up is Hellboy, which is actually going to be a Netflix release. I love the originals with all my heart. We have not read the comics yet. For the new movie, it is based on 3 comics, and we have those 3 comics, and we will be reading and reviewing those. But I just love the originals so much, and this one looks like it has a funky tone.
I really hope that this was a marketing error in terms of their trailer to try and make it a hyped-up trailer. They have, in press things said that this is going to be much more darker, violent, more true to the original comic series adaptation. The trailer showed it was the opposite and was like a weird knockoff of the original Hellboy films.
It gave me R.I.P.D. vibes, which is not a good thing.
Oh, God. Oh, God. So, I really want this one to be good. I hope the marketing is wrong. If it is like the trailer, I think it will be bad and you're better off watching Hellboy 2: The Golden Army.
Well, we'll talk about that more in our full series that is coming soon.
Next up, we have a weird-looking film. We just watched the trailer for it called High Life. It is an A24 film, so I'm here to give it a shot. And I think Robert Pattinson gets a bad break, and I think he's been doing a lot of stuff lately, so
this is a sci-fi. Oh, it is marketed as a horror. We were correct. I'm watching it, and I'm like, this looks more like a horror than a sci-fi. That's because it's both. It's a father and his daughter struggle to survive in deep space where they live in isolation. It looks fucking weird.
It looks weird and creepy, so I think it will be that way. The trailer most seemed like the Suspiria trailer, just in space, so looks creepy, and I wouldn't mind seeing more horror this year, so
True.
I think this one is actually going to be a hit among people. I think there's going to be a lot of good horror movies this year.
I'm hyped. Next up, we have our conclusion-esque, I guess it's not really a conclusion, Avengers Endgame.
It is the end of Phase 4.
Yeah, but it's not a conclusion
Or Phase 3.
to the full thing. I'm very, very excited. I loved Infinity War. Very much enjoyed. So really looking forward to the conclusion.
I'm very interested to see how they pull this off. They've been showing
It's gonna be great.
next to nothing. The trailer just showed people bummed and upset. I think people are going to die. I hope people die
People are
permanently.
going to come back and then they're going to die again. That's my theory.
Really? I predict that we'll
You
have
don't think anybody's coming back?
No, I think people will die and then they'll bring people back. So I think the end of the movie, they'll bring all the people back who have movies coming out, like Spider-Man and Black Panther.
Yeah, but some people who died in the first one, I think, are going to come back and then actually die.
Oh. Well, we shall see. I do think that one of our big guys are going to die.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Most of them were poofed, so they have
I
to
guess
come
that's
back
true.
to
But
go
Robert
poof
Downey
again.
Jr. and Chris Evans are both still alive, and I think
I guess that's true.
that one of those two people will die.
We shall see.
It's going to be good. So this is such a weird movie for me. The next one is Detective Pikachu, and I was the opposite of hyped. I was
true. He was
actively,
totally against it.
I was a hater, and then the trailer came out, and now I'm the opposite of a hater, because now I'm this movie's gonna be freaking good, and I'm ready for the PCU, for the Pokemon Cinematic Universe. I'm here for it.
Same. We continue to have further movies. Is this a finale? I'm not sure. We have John Wick 3, so we have lots of series continuing or concluding this year. I've loved every single one of these movies, although with the first one, I know I've told this story before, but Steven had me watch the first one. You had already seen it. Yeah. And then I watched it with him, and I was 15 minutes into it, ready to freaking quit and never finish it because of the freaking dog. And then I loved it, and the second one's amazing, and I expect the third one to be even better.
I was hold on.
I was so angry. I was like, is this another Mist situation? Because I will be angry.
So, I'm just so unbelievably hyped. I think this one's going to be really good. I think it will potentially be the best. It seems like they're really embracing this almost comic booky universe of assassins, even more so than the second one did. And I think the series deserves a rewatch before this comes out for us, because I just need to refresh myself. It looks good. The next film up is Aladdin. This movie's going to be trash. We may not even go see this one because it's going to be so bad. These live action remakes aren't going well. They're turning into the next video game movie.
Oh, bold statement.
I know. No video game movies this year. We just have live action Disney remakes, and they're all going to be bad.
Next, we have one that looks really interesting. Don't know a whole lot about it. So this is Brightburn, which, how did you describe this?
It's Superman crashes like Superman does, but instead of it being Clark Kent and have this strong sense of justice, he ends up coming into superpowers, and he's a psychopath, and he's evil. Like, what if an evil, terrible kid got the powers of Superman? And it looks kind of freaky, but good.
Elizabeth Banks is in this, which she tends to, like, fluctuate between a lot of different genres, and this is definitely a horror sci-fi, so lots of horror sci-fi combos this year. I'm into it.
Next up, we have Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This one, I really want it to be good. I love Godzilla.
The trailer looks incredible.
Godzilla's like my original bae. I love those 50 films. Sorry, it's Godzilla. And this one looks excellent. I hope it's just wild. I think the weakest part of the first Godzilla film was the fact that they didn't have enough Godzilla in it. And it seems like this film is willing to put the humans a little bit into the backseat and have these monsters fight. There's a lot of them.
Next up is our next X-Men film, which is Dark Phoenix, which has been pushed a few times, which is never a good sign. There's also been a lot of reshoots. Was Bryan Singer attached to this?
I don't think he's been attached since not Apocalypse, but the one before that.
Good.
So.
I think it's gonna be bad. But I do really like, I can't remember her name. Sansa.
Sophie Turner.
That one.
I'm ready for this to die. So that way they can recast them all. Unfortunately, some of these people are good castings, but I'm ready for some weird portal to open at the end of some weird Marvel movie and have them walk through, or have Professor Xavier roll through and have your new X-Men team or Wolverine show up, someone. These, I don't care. It's gonna be bad. Apocalypse was bad. Next up, we have Men in Black International. Now, this one looks good, but mostly because of the lead cast members.
So I'm gonna say I wasn't impressed by the trailer, but I like the casting, so...
I think the two of them have such good, chemistry on screen that they're going to be fun to watch regardless of the quality of the actual movie. So we'll see it and we'll probably like it, even though the movie will probably end up being bad, is my prediction.
Next up, more continuations of series that should have ended already. Toy Story 4. I felt like this was such a good trilogy and ended so well. I don't know why we're getting a fourth one, and the teaser was stupid, so
I think that this one will be just okay. I think it's clear. I think the public consensus is that this seems a little bit like milking it, even though they've said we wouldn't do it unless we had a good story, but
yeah.
I don't think it needed it. And honestly, at this point, I'd much rather Disney Pixar come up with more original stories than continuing ones that have already closed out. I actually don't think I'm going to like this one very much.
We'll see. I'm waiting for a trailer to form more thoughts.
So next up, we have Child's Play.
I've never seen any of these movies.
So I'm traumatized from these movies. I hate dolls. They scare me.
I agree. I don't like creepy dolls, but not because of these movies.
I have there's rational fear of creepy dolls, but I'm any dolls in the room, creepy, weird. I don't like it. They're all evil, and this movie's gonna scare me. So I feel like I kind of have to go see this just to hate it the whole way through.
Who's even in this? Aubrey Plaza and people I don't know. In the continuation of series and comic books, we have Spider-Man Far From Home, which I think is going to be phenomenal.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's going to be fantastic as Mysterio. And I think that's about that.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm more interested in more Spider-Verse series than this.
Absolutely. I completely agree. So I think this is good as like a side universe. It's nice to have Spider-Man in the MCU, but it's probably not going to be the spider stories that I first look for in terms of films now. Then in July, I think it's the last film in July that's currently announced that we'll go see, maybe, is The Lion King.
Oh, we're not going to go see the other one that everyone's so excited about? We'll touch on that in a second. Lion King.
Lion King. I know, I purposely said that. So, I don't know. This isn't live action, it's CGI action.
They're calling it live action, though, which is real weird.
Because it's technically, I guess, live action, but the animals are CGI'd. But live action Disney remakes. I wonder how I feel about those.
But the cast of this one is phenomenal, so I'm intrigued.
I think this one's going to be a solid C.
That's fine.
I don't think any of these are ever going to capture the magic of the originals. I think if you really want to feel that magic, they exist still. Go watch them.
So are we not going to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Let's talk about it. We'll see if we go see it or not.
New Quentin Tarantino. If you've been around the channel for a minute, you know that we appreciate Tarantino's films, but he's not my favorite person.
Hot take. I think at this stage, he's a little overrated. I think he's a good filmmaker.
I think he tries too hard to be edgy.
I think at this point, his filmmaking can best be described as gratuitous.
Which a lot of people like.
Whereas I felt like it was earlier on, his work was very detailed. And so like the level of gratuitousness was like in there, but it was so calculated that you were like, I can accept this as part of his like ideas. But I feel like the further you get into his filmography and the more recent you get, which I know some people did like Hateful Eight, I feel like it just turned into more of like, I'm here for like conflict and blood and violence, and not as much like, I don't know, interesting storytelling with interesting cinematic shots. Hot take.
With that, let's move on to the next month. So next up on the list is one, I said we weren't going to talk about ones we're probably not going to see in theaters, but I'm like actively not going to go see this in theaters, and that is Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, which is one, the stupidest title I've ever heard, and two, we don't need a side story of freaking Hobbs and Shaw. I love Fast and Furious a lot, and this is just unnecessary. They're like the two least interesting ones.
I just don't get the Fast and Furious Presents. It sounds like one of those shorts that comes before a Pixar film.
Because
like
if they only put Hobbs and Shaw, everyone would be like, what?
It seems like you'd show up to a Fast and Furious film, and it's like, before we have the Jackalope and Hobbs and Shaw. Like, whereas that's not what this is. It's a full-length film. It's gonna be bad. And then rolling right after, supposedly this weekend, the same weekend as Hobbs and Shaw, presented by Fast and Furious, is The New Mutants.
So we had this on our predictions last year because it was supposed to come out last year, and then it got pushed. I was initially really hyped for this, and now I have hesitations.
It, I think, is in development hell. I don't think it will come out this weekend, that
Not
they
this
say.
upcoming
Yeah,
weekend.
I don't think it will.
Slated
I
for.
don't think we'll ever see this movie. Or if when we do, it will be nothing like what was the original film. It will be so
That's
cut
what I think
together.
it's
It
gonna
will end up feeling like a Suicide Squad, like a weird movie that was like pushed back, recut, changed to like be more enjoyable. It's gonna be like a weird Frankenstein of what it could have been. It's gonna be garbage if it comes out.
Next, we have another book to movie adaptation, which I've never read and don't plan on reading, and that's Artemis Fowl.
So, I'm interested in seeing this film, just see how they do it. It is like a fantasy film. It's almost like Hellboy-esque in that it's like
for children.
gritty and there's like humans, but then there's also all these weird, there's like fairy cops and things like that happen. So there's a whole underworld of like magical creatures that do stuff. And there's a lot of morally gray characters in this series, and that's why I think it might be more interesting. It's a little more, it's one of those like YA books that like managed to cram a lot of like more adult things in there and like
It gives me
edginess
Percy
that you're
Jackson
like,
vibes.
It's like Percy Jackson if like halfway through people got like straight up murdered and stuff like
Percy
that.
Jackson gets dark.
People get like shot in the face, like stuff like that.
Maybe
Like
not that
Artemis Fowl got pretty dark there in the series, I know, so
Well, because as with a lot of YA series, they get darker as they go because they kind of grow up with their fan base.
But this one started out pretty like...
Oh. I have not read them. He's only read the first one.
We'll see how it goes. Rolling into September, we have It Chapter 2.
I think this is my most anticipated of 2019. I think.
We had such a fun journey, and on the channel, you can watch us go on that journey of reading the original It, going to see it. It was such an experience, one of my favorite film experiences, and so I really hope this one's good. We
also now have a first edition of the book, which I found for $20 at a used bookstore. I'm very proud of it.
So, we got lucky on that one. We're now very big fans of this book. I really hope they do it justice, and my biggest prediction, since this is a prediction thread, not just a hype thread, true. So my prediction is that if they are willing to stick to the book and get crazy and can pull it off, it will be great. If they decide to play it more safe and change it, how they did with the first chapter, with chapter 1 of it, I think that...
But chapter 2 with the adults is when things get real crazy, so... Because I think it's going to be good. I'm interested to see how they play between the adults and the kids, because I thought the original plan was to have the kids in part 1 and the adults in part 2 and not really have overlap. But I think what's going to end up happening, because they did leave a lot out from the kids' storyline that's actually really important towards the finale, that I think we're going to have like flashbacks when the adults get together as they start to talk about their experiences. We're going to have flashbacks to the kids, and that's why the kids are back for this one.
That would be dope.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I think as long as there's no orgy...
Go watch our review if you want to talk about that more.
Unless it's like a Sense8 style, like adult orgy.
Oh, make it adults instead? But that wouldn't even make sense storyline-wise. It just doesn't need to happen.
It doesn't need to happen. So...
And for all of you dude bros who is going to come into the comments talking about how that was so necessary,
go
do it on our other video, because you have friends over there.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about it. It's garbage. But, very big fans. I think if they're willing to commit to the book, it will be really good. I think if they pull back, it'll end up just okay.
We'll see. So, next up is another one that I don't know if we're going to end up seeing in theaters, and that's the Joker, but the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Why?
This is going to be a dumb movie.
Why? I also don't love Joaquin Phoenix like a lot of other people do.
I think this movie's going to be dumb. I think it's going to be very self-praising. A little bit masturbatory, as most of the things surrounding the Joker lately have been.
Yes. I think it'll be better than Jared Leto's iteration.
Some weird pop culture fascination because Heath Ledger did a good job, so we should greenlight all these Joker movies and try to bring him more into pop culture. Joker's a very interesting
character, but so are a lot of other Batman villains. Do those.
I don't think... Hot take. It's not even a hot take. This is reality, guys. The Joker's not an interesting character without his foil, Batman.
True, and he's not in this as far as we are aware.
Because
this isn't even in the same universe, right? I'm confused.
He's interesting for how he challenges Batman's worldview and how they complement and antagonize each other. Without one, what's the point? It's stupid. And I would be willing to bet, this is my hot prediction, that film is going to have some weird bullshit where, since it's set in the past, since it's a period piece, like it's set in the 70s or something, he's not even going to be the Joker. He's going to be like Joker's dad or something stupid like that. Or be like the Joker's inmate before he becomes the Joker, so he steals his like legacy from... It's going to be some weird, stupid shit like that, and that's my prediction. I'm excited to come back to this and make fun of it. Next up is The Woman in the Window. We're probably going to go see this. It is apparently very hyped. I knew nothing about this till 3 seconds ago.
It's a thriller book. It was like, I think it won Goodreads Choice Thriller for last year, for 2018. Don't quote me on that. It was definitely in the top picks. I have not read it yet. I would like to. I've heard good things. But basically it's about a woman who's an agoraphobe, and she sees something happen across the street that was like a crime, and things happen. The cast. Amy Adams is playing the woman in the window. She's really good in thrillers. We really liked her in Sharp Objects. She's been good in other things. We also have Gary Oldman, Julianne Moore, and Anthony Mackie. So, intrigued. No trailer or anything else yet.
We'll see.
If this actually comes out this year, I'm so excited. And that is Zombieland 2. I loved this first movie with a passion. It's so good. And I'm so happy they're making a second one if it actually comes to fruition. Questionable.
So... I'm going to have an unpopular opinion here. I think the first movie's good. Goodish. I'm not that hyped for this one. I think it's weird. It's so long after the fact. Why wouldn't you put out a Zombieland 2 like 8 years ago? We're gonna go see it. I'm gonna go in with an open mind, and I hope it's like a good continuation story and everything, but I don't know.
Well.
And coming up next is The Goldfinch. More book-to-movie adaptations I know nothing about. But
I don't
we're
know much
probably gonna
about
check
it, but I know that it's a very popular book. I know a lot of people like it. So it's about a boy in New York who's taken by a wealthy Upper East Side family after his mother is killed and in a bombing at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's a drama. There's some mystery elements to it that I know of, and a lot of people that I respect book opinions on really love it. Cast-wise, we've got Sarah Paulson, Nicole Kidman, Ansel Elgort, and Finn Wolfhard. Cool cast, so I'm intrigued. We'll probably go see it.
Looks interesting enough.
So next is one we're definitely not going to go see in theaters because I'm going to actively not go see this in theaters again, but I want to talk about it, and that is the Addams Family animated version. The first two are perfect! Why? Addams Family and Addams Family Values are like some of my faves, and they're done wonderfully, and my dream is to live like Morticia Addams. Why are we making it an animated version? I don't understand. Thoughts?
I think it looks dumb.
Who's even in this? Chloe Grace Moretz, Charlize Theron, Oscar Isaac, and Elsie Fisher? I mean, cool cast, but... This also looks very Hotel Transylvania-esque, which I do like, but why?
Next up, we have Untitled Terminator Reboot.
I'm intrigued and hesitant, but I kind of want to see what happens with it.
Terminator is such a mixed bag of films, and I think the funniest part is their like promo poster they put out is probably the worst poster I've ever seen. It looks dumb.
Yeah.
It makes it look dumb. It's actively hurting my hype. As the more I look at it, I'm just like, ugh. It's so bad.
That's
So
full poster.
no, that's like a third of it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel like the series peaked with Terminator 2, clearly.
Yeah.
And we'll go see it, give it a chance. But I feel like whoever's in the writer's room on these Terminator reboots, I hope they're changing people out because it seems like they keep struggling to really make something of it and get too convoluted. And I don't think this one's going to be very good, though.
But next up, we have a reboot that I'm actually pretty interested in from the casting alone, and that is Charlie's Angels. We are rebooting this with Elizabeth Banks, Noah Centineo, Kristen Stewart. Who are the other angels? I forget. But I'm intrigued. I've been on a Kristen Stewart fan train lately. I quite like her as she does more things. And I think she could play a killer Charlie's Angels, and please make her queer. I would love that.
So, I think this one's going to be good. I mean,
we have no information about it yet.
Yeah, so I'll keep an open mind. I hope it's good. I feel like it has potential to not be good, though.
Really?
Now, November 8th is the weekend where we should not go see any of these movies because they're going to be so bad.
No, it's going to be a bad weekend, guys.
It's going to be a rough weekend. I hope we don't go see them. At the very
starting
least,
with...
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog. This weird mess of a poster.
It does have Jim Carrey and James Marsden,
So, Sonic is just like a weird franchise because it has a lot of films, but very few of their products have any actual value at all.
My question is this purely animated or is this animated characters in real world?
That one.
Oh.
So Sonic's animated in real world. Yeah, isn't it weird? So, oh my gosh, let's listen to a cop in the rural town of Green Hills will help Sonic escape from the government who is looking to capture him. So it's going to be like Bumblebee.
Wait, how are they escaping from the government who are looking to capture him? That just doesn't make sense. You escape after you've been captured, not pre-getting captured. What?
So he's going to be like an alien that they're going to be trying to like capture. It's going to be like the movie Bumblebee, but instead of having a cool robot, you're going to have like weirdly animated Sonic, who is anatomically like horrifying.
We'll see if they change it by the time that it comes out. We got time.
This movie is going to be trash.
So, continuing with the themes of movies I am actively not seeing but want to rage about is Kingsman 3. If you missed our Kingsman 2 review, highly recommend. Unless you really loved the movie, then maybe don't go watch our review because you'll be upset. We hated the second one a lot, and because of creative choices, if that's what you want to call it, in the second one, I will never give them money ever again. So
I think that the second one was upsetting enough in terms of how it actively tried to make the good things about that film series smaller.
Is our main dude not even in this?
I think so.
He's not billed. Maybe they just haven't completed the list yet. Weird.
Probably not. But we're not going to go see this probably because
we're going to stay home this weekend.
I think Kingsman 1's good.
It's a great
really
movie.
Good. Kingsman 2.
Trash.
Yeah. Kingsman 3 is probably going to be somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
Then we have Frozen 2. I actually think Frozen 2 is going to be pretty good.
I really like the first one.
I think it was a different take on a Disney film in terms of how they made it, a lack of a central antagonist for the majority of the film, a greater focus on Elsa and Anna and their relationship, I think was very interesting. I don't think they'll be so bold as to do some things that that a lot of people fan theorize that that Elsa is queer.
I don't think they'll do that.
They won't. The Disney would never.
Heavily imply a character in the first movie was queer, so. But that was a very, very minor side character.
I don't think Disney would ever be that bold.
I would love them for it.
It'd be cool though.
They'd get so much hate mail, and it would be great.
But despite how some characters are coded, I think that this film will be pretty good. I think.
If they don't make her queer, I hope they don't give her a love interest at all.
Yeah, if they continued that train, I'd be cool with it.
So next up is one that we know very little about, but we still wanted to comment on it, and that is Knives Out. This is directed by Rian Johnson of the Star Wars variety, and includes Chris Evans and Jamie Lee Curtis and Daniel Craig.
I really like Chris Evans. I hope that this film is good. I'm interested enough to go see it. I think Rian Johnson, I like some of his movies. I really did not like Star Wars The Last Jedi, but at least he had a vision and executed it. It was just not what I wanted.
It's plot unknown, but it says it's described as a modern murder mystery in a classic whodunit style.
I'd be all down for a weird Clue type movie with Chris Evans, remake. Daniel Craig, Jamie Lee Curtis. That could be fun.
That could be fun. We'll see.
Rolling into the last month, December, we're going to start off with Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle sequel. It's untitled as of this time, but I'm going to go see it.
I think it's going to be great. The first one was delightful.
That was going to be the word I was going to use.
Second one?
Delightful. Yes. So it did separate itself from Jumanji lore in some ways. I really liked the original Jumanji, but I felt like this one had a fresh take. It was honestly just a lot of fun and enjoyable, and I think the performance, it was a pretty novel way to do that. I think number 2 will be a lot of fun as well.
I'm so excited for more Jack Black as a teenage girl. Next up, we have Star Wars Episode 9. This could go one of two ways. It could be good. It could be bad. It could split the entire universe in half like the last one did. We didn't like The Last Jedi very much. But I'll still go see the next one.
I think that this one will be a very interesting film for this trilogy. We'll go see it. I'm going to try and go in, but because Rian Johnson really cut off a lot of things, I think when it comes to a trilogy finisher, you can really elevate the previous films in a series, and I really hope that this one does that. If it fails to do so, though, it's going to end up not being very good.
It is J.J. Abrams, which normally I would say in J.J. Abrams we trust, but then he did Cloverfield Paradox and I don't trust him anymore. I don't know.
I really want this one to be good. I wanted to come in and say, okay, I know you thought some things were retconned in the second one, but here's some reality. You could even throw in some flashbacks of training that we didn't get to see on the island. There's so much he could do with this film. I really hope it brings it more to a middle ground. I would rather have a solidly good Star Wars film like Solo than one that really I would love if it pushed the limits and was good, but it was clear that The Last Jedi went in the opposite direction that I feel like is a pretty good Star Wars way to go. I have a lot of opinions about this. I would say I hope this one is good, but my hopes are I'm keeping my hype to 0.
I'm very interested to see how they continue Leia's character, if they continue it, or if they're just going to have her killed off screen. I'm interested to see how they honor Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, so I just found out that apparently there's a He-Man movie coming out, and
I don't care.
Sounds dope. I'm all about it.
It looks animated.
Is it going to be? It doesn't say animated.
Oh, you're true. It doesn't.
I think this is going to be a live action He-Man Masters of the Universe. I'm so down. The only thing that could be better is if they decided to go Thundercats after this.
Oh, that I could be in for.
Thundercats would be cool, but He-Man was also awesome. My childhood coming to life. Hope it's better than Transformers franchise.
So next we have a musical, a live action musical, and that's going to be Cats. I've never seen the original, but the cast? We've got Idris Elba, Rebel Wilson, Ian McKellen, James Corden. I also know we have Taylor Swift. Intrigued. So I'm interested in how they do this.
It will be funny to see everyone dressed up as cats.
Yeah, who else do we got? Judi Dench, Jennifer Hudson.
Taylor Swift.
I just said Taylor Swift.
You did say Taylor Swift.
So I'm interested. I honestly didn't know that this was happening until I saw Taylor Swift post a picture from set of just like her little chair that has her character's name on it. And I was like, what is this in reference to? And I looked up the character name and then it popped up Cats. So now I'm intrigued.
Next up is Little Women.
Stephen hates this book.
I think it's a bad book.
I've never read the full book. I've read pieces of it and I'm going to read the whole thing this year. But I like the cast.
I think that, director is Greta Gerwig.
I love Greta
Timothy Chalamet, Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson. Okay, so now the cast, I'm like, oh, crap. So, and the director, I hate this story. I'd be much more interested in some form of reboot with some time change.
I would love to have this set in modern day, but it's not.
Period pieces a lot of times are boring to me, especially in a
Greta
book
Gerwig,
that I
and
think
I
is
trust
bad.
her.
So if they're willing to change from the source material, I could be on board. So obviously this is just the IMDb list at this time. I think that's all of them for us. We went through the entire year, all the ones we're interested in. Obviously there's a lot more movies on there. We skipped over those because, if you've been keeping up with the channel, we can only see so many movies in a year.
We don't purely do movie reviews on this channel. We do a lot of different media topics, so...
If we go see like 75% of the movies that we just made predictions on, I would consider it a resounding success. So we'll obviously see as many as we want or what we're interested in. If something comes out and gets like a terrible, terrible review, we might opt not to go spend our time and money on that because, obviously this is a hobby for us and we prefer to spend our money and time on things we know we'll enjoy. We won't purposely go see a movie that is going to be garbage on purpose.
But some of these, if they hit streaming services after they come out, we might end up watching casually at home. We'll see.
But those are our predictions. Some of them hot takes, some of them lukewarm takes. We'll see how they turn out. I hope all movies come out and are excellent, but that is clearly not how the world works.
So let us know down in the comments what your most anticipated film of the year and what you think is going to be the most trash film of the year. I'm intrigued. And let us know if there's any movies coming out this year that you're really excited for, but we did not mention and maybe we should put on our radar. Other than that, give this video a thumbs up if you like our predictions videos. We only do them once a year. And we'll do our reaction at the beginning of next year. And subscribe if you like us. We have a lot of different content coming this year. We've mentioned several projects we have going on in this video. Hope you stick around and enjoy, and we will see you guys in our next video. Bye!